Hello, I'm Kristen Oakes White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. Well, power has been restored to most of Louisiana in the wake of Hurricane Ida, but there are still some folks who are without it. Grand Isle is closed to all but residents as they are working to rebuild their infrastructure. Along the coast, one key component of rebuilding will be the marshes that help protect those further inland from future storms. As TWILA's Neil Melanson tells us, one of the places that grows the marsh grasses is also trying to rebuild in the wake of the storm.
Old Glory is still flying in Galliano, but it's one of the few intact things here. This is the Plant Material Center, one of the NRCS facilities that's helping to restore coastal Louisiana. While it normally houses researchers and greenhouses, it now needs restoration itself after what manager Garrett Thomasy says was the worst storm he's seen.
Over previous storms from Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and other storms like Zeta that we've had currently last year, Ida was the most significant damage that I've seen since I've been here.
The marsh grasses you see here are all part of the research projects and finding the right plants for the right jobs all across the state. In addition, the facility grows plants to support the coastal Chitimacha tribe, including blue flake corn. All that research is in jeopardy right now.
Currently, we're trying to just get to salvage what we can. As you can see in this greenhouse, there's a lot of plants that have been moved off of their tables, and there's a lot of mess here. That is concerning to us because some of these plants are very specific to a specific origin.
The conference center and other facilities were also damaged. Even those that didn't stay here on site were often members of the community, which are suffering both at work and at home.
Their personal lives and their homes are, they just got back electricity yesterday and it's off again today, and they just got water a couple of days ago. How do you do that? It's very difficult. Big emotional toll, big physical toll, and looks like it's going to be a while before we can even come close to getting back to normal.
Despite the demoralizing damage here, Thomasy knows it's crucial to get this facility repaired.
I know it's going to take a lot of effort, and as far as our, getting it to where it was, but we're going to take those steps. And, that's going to be my job now, to get this place like it was back on top.
Perhaps most disheartening of all is all of these ruined projects you see over my left shoulder were all designed to help restore coastal Louisiana, whether it's from storms or normal erosion. Now all of these projects will have to either be restarted or reconceived from the ground up. Reporting from Galliano, Louisiana, I'm Neil Melanson.
The Plant Material Center was less than 30 miles from where Hurricane Ida made landfall. The damage was part of Ida's more than $500 million in damage to Louisiana agriculture. Meanwhile, farmers and ranchers are still waiting for federal disaster payments from the 2020 hurricanes. That's why donations in this time of need are so important, like the $25,000 worth of fencing supplies donated by the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation.
We remember Katrina. Bottom line is we had a need. When Katrina hit Mississippi, it tore us up, and we had other state farm bureaus that donated wire and post, and we distributed it for several months after. And we were told there was a need down in the south end of Louisiana that the devastation was equal to Katrina. And there's a lot of cattle down there, and we want to reach out and lend a helping hand to our neighbor.
There's always something with a farmer. And we got to help each other if we're going to survive. And that's what's happening now, that we're out here trying to help Louisiana Farm Bureau people. And we're proud to do it. I know they would do it for us if we were in the same situation, which we have been.
Katrina was something I could have never imagined living through. And if we didn't have friends like other state farm bureaus that jumped in, especially Louisiana, that supplied needed supplies, fencing, even hay. We had hay shipped in, so it made a big impression on members. It gave them some peace of mind. With friends, we got help, we got moral support, so it turned out to be a very good thing, and it's a privilege to be able to receive some of that favor that was shown to us.
A lot of the issues that we're facing right now, especially in our area, is trees down on fences and tons of fences to rebuild. And they're going to be rebuilding fences for months to come. And you know, these donations make it possible for them to be able to do it on an already tight budget.
It's about a $25,000 value that we have bought and sent down here to the cattlemen of Louisiana.
Without the relationship we have with neighboring states, things like this wouldn't be possible. You know, and in return, if Mississippi Farm Bureau, there's a disaster in Mississippi, Louisiana reciprocates the fact that we'll help out any way we can. And it's because of these relationships that we have such a network nationwide.
Farm Bureau is the only ag organization that is prepared to help farmers in a disaster. They are the go-to people, so they, in my opinion, they are the premier aid for farmers.
Mississippi Farm Bureau, thank you from the bottom of our heart, from Louisiana Farm Bureau and all the farmers and ranchers in the state of Louisiana and the area that's affected from Hurricane Ida.
Now you can still donate to the Louisiana Farm Bureau Foundation Disaster Relief Fund. You'll find a link to that site on our website at twilatv.org. Assessment and cleanup is still going on for forest landowners in southeast Louisiana. They're facing two issues: the damage from Ida and stagnant prices for their timber. This week, TWILA's Craig Gautreaux updates us on the timber industry in the Florida parishes.
For many small private forest landowners in the Florida parishes of Louisiana, Hurricane Ida could be the final straw. Many were trying to rebound from the devastation caused by Hurricane Katrina. But the conditions for recovery now are much different when Katrina struck.
We don't have as many loggers in the area anymore. We have a lack of mills, and the market is, considerably less than it was 16 years ago.
Randy Pellicino is a forestry consultant in the area. He says salvaging timber is a difficult task, especially for trees that were blown over by the winds of Ida.
You have the trees still attached to the root balls, makes it very hard to go out and get them pulled out of the ground. It's just very difficult from a logging standpoint to salvage that.
Most of the damaged timber occurred in pine stands, but along creeks and rivers, many hardwoods fell. Trying to salvage timber in water bodies given scenic river status by the state comes with its own set of issues.
There's special rules and regulations as far as harvesting inside a 100-foot buffer along the scenic river, the Tickfaw River. So in most cases, I doubt that much of that is going to be salvaged.
Besides causing more wear and tear on logging equipment, the economics of salvaging timber may make it not worthwhile.
Your bigger logs, you might can get a couple dollars a ton for them, as opposed to that standing tree and a standing stand, you should get 3 times what you would get right now from your salvage prices.
Another problem hampering the forest industry is the area has a surplus of more than 30 inches of rain this year. The wet conditions are limiting when and where loggers can operate. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
State and federal estimates have determined more than 168,000 timber acres were affected, with losses of more than $300 million. Well, Washington, D.C. has been a hive of activity in the past few weeks. There's debate over a massive infrastructure bill, as well as legislation to keep the federal government open. The continuing resolution passed by Congress to fund the federal government on September 20th included a huge win for Louisiana farmers. In it is $10 billion to fund the Wildfire and Hurricane Indemnity Program Plus, better known as WIP Plus. This is funding Louisiana Farm Bureau, among many others, worked tirelessly to secure for farmers impacted by major storms over the past couple of years. Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation National Affairs Coordinator Andy Brown says this is a crucial step towards getting Louisiana farmers the help they need.
This WIP Plus extension, thankfully, is for both 2020 and 2021. So we want our farmers in southwest Louisiana and really all throughout the state that felt the impacts of Laura and Delta and the folks from Zeta and the winter storm, all these people along with Hurricane Ida, to know that we've been fighting all along. It's just finally taken this measure that sometimes in Washington a little pressure helps, and the pressure to keep the government open was that open door for us to get this WIP Plus extension pushed through.
While the legislation has passed, it's now up to the USDA to implement the program through local FSA offices. It will take some time for that to be rolled out, but when it's ready, we'll be letting you know right here on TWILA. If you'd like to learn more about the work Louisiana Farm Bureau has been doing on this front, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Before Hurricane Ida ripped through our state, Louisiana Farm Bureau brought staff members from the state's congressional offices to farms to get a first-hand look at the issues farmers are facing. As TWILA's Carl Wiggers shows us, these staffers got a hands-on education about the state's diverse crops and the range of issues our farmers face.
So you do a bundle of 3, overlap each row by 1.
These folks are learning firsthand how labor-intensive planting sugarcane in Louisiana is. For them, it may just be a field trip, but they're learning a lot about Louisiana's crops and issues that farmers face, which is vital to their day jobs on Capitol Hill.
3-foot overlap.
Turner Bridgeforth says understanding crops like sugarcane is crucial to helping his boss, Congressman Higgins, best represent his constituents.
I didn't grow up around sugarcane, or I didn't grow up around rice, and to kind of be able to advocate, make sure my boss is well informed so he can go into the conversations, you know, it's easy to put eyes on it. You need to kind of see what the production looks like instead of reading it on a piece of paper. So it means the world to me, and that'll help my boss get to the next step.
Zellie Duval works with Congresswoman Julia Letlow from Louisiana's 5th District. Being on a farm is nothing new to her, but being on Louisiana's farms have been huge for her understanding the crops that she helps represent.
The experience has just been great to be able to actually have boots on the ground, as they say it, and to be able to talk to the farmers face to face. You know, while I did grow up on a farm myself, it was not a farm like the ones I've been on this week, and it's just really good to kind of have, you know, that relationship with the producer and really, you know, understand what they do on a day-to-day basis. And it's just a really good time for us to come down here and actually see everything that's being taken place so we can take that back to Washington.
Taylor Playforth is a legislative assistant for Congressman Garrett Graves in Louisiana's 6th District, who says a strong relationship with Louisiana Farm Bureau is key to representing agriculture better in D.C.
Louisiana Farm Bureau has put together a great trip to educate all the members of the House delegation and staff on the issues that are important to our constituents, and particularly, you know, the ag industry is huge for our state, and without them, we wouldn't have the information that's necessary to inform our bosses and to make you know, informed decisions and educate our colleagues on why the policies are the way they are and how we need to advocate and look at modifying some of those policies.
A lot of good education occurred, but really the relationships that we're able to build and maintain are what it's all about. We want to be that conduit, and what better place to do that than on their farm, in their field, getting hands-on, walking behind a sugarcane planter or riding a combine. Those are what make relationships, not just emails, letters, and videos, whatever we can send them.
Farm Bureau as a whole is a grassroots organization. Everything that they do on a policy level and everything, the stances that they take on certain things comes from the farmers. And I think being able to have that relationship with Louisiana Farm Bureau and its staff is very important, because they really are the ones that are hearing day to day from farmers, and they know what are the issues are on the ground. So it's just really helpful to have that grassroots experience at your fingertips.
As you saw in that story, the tour was a great success, and it really highlights the importance of the relationship between farmers and these congressional offices. One of the issues addressed on the legislative staff tour of Louisiana was rural broadband and how important it is for today's farmers. TWILA's Carl Wiggers will have more on that issue soon on TWILA. However, if you don't want to wait, you can listen in to that discussion now on Louisiana Farm Bureau's latest episode of Grassroots Government. It's all about connecting rural residents to broadband and bridging the state's digital divide. You can find a link to that podcast on our website at twilatv.org. Did you know that you can find a 4-H chapter in every parish in Louisiana? And while the organization has deep roots in agriculture, there is something for everyone in 4-H, as you'll hear from these students who came by our studio celebrating National 4-H Week.
My name is Ty Hebert. I'm the current Louisiana 4-H state president. I'm from Vermilion Parish, and my school club is the Kaplan High School 4-H club. As 4-Hers, we can make a difference in our communities and schools by being active members in our communities. 4-H teaches you how to be an active member of your community and see the problems and the issues that need to be faced, to where whenever you become an adult, you have the experiences and the knowledge of how to make those things better.
In 4-H, I've done basically every contest there is. At least I've participated in them, like cooking contests, photography contests, speech contests, like you can name it. Except livestock, I don't have livestock. But that's the beauty of 4-H. You don't have to necessarily have one thing to just be excluded from the group. You can have many talents, or maybe just one talent, or you don't have to literally know your talent yet. You can just discover it in 4-H.
If I had any advice to give youth or parents about joining 4-H, it would be, if you join, don't limit yourself and try everything, because if you limit yourself, you might only know what's going on in your school, and there's many more things that'll happen outside of your school and in your parish and state levels.
4-H has provided me to travel to here Baton Rouge and participate in 4-H University on the LSU campus. I've been able to be a part of state boards. I've traveled to Georgia for a music summit. I've actually visited the state capitol for a program, for an event that we do, 4-H Day at the Capitol. I've been to Alexandria for a conference with the state boards.
Once you put 4-H youth on a mission, they're going to get it done. And just for numbers, for example, 4-H volunteering is equivalent to $350,000 per year. So the amount of time that we put in through service is such an impactful movement that as 4-Hers, we could simply get anything done.
Now you can learn more about 4-H on our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, we see that first day pictures are not just for the kids. But first we take a closer look at the LSU Ag Center's largest research station in the state. Stay with us. With around 3,000 acres of land committed to research, the LSU Ag Center's Dean Lee Research Station in central Louisiana is the largest in the statewide system. This week we take a closer look at the station and meet some of the scientists who call it home.
The LSU Ag Center research stations are critical to the agricultural land grant mission in Louisiana. Because of proximity to our clientele, because of where we're located, because we are conducting research that is directly aligned with the needs of the producers and our stakeholders, this is where the rubber meets the road. The LSU Ag Center has 15 research stations that are located across the state. The stations are strategically located to meet the needs of our constituents that are affiliated with various different sectors of agriculture in those given areas. Some of the research stations focus on agronomic crops, while some focus on beef cattle and livestock, also horticulture and specialty crop initiatives.
One fun thing that we do on a research station is have field days. So today we're having a field day where producers come in and we can show some of the research we're doing. And not only are we able to explain some of our findings, but we can get some really good questions from them, which can then shape our future research.
In order to conduct research appropriately, we have to control certain factors so that the results that we get are science-based, to be able to give the producers the appropriate recommendations. So in a research station, we have resources. We can actually evaluate different management practices. If there is someone that should make mistakes, should be us at the research station and not the producer.
We're constantly looking for ways to innovate and get better to serve our clientele. Because I'll be honest, if a grower's not making money, I'm not going to have a job. That's what I'm here for, is to help that farmer make as many dollars, nickels, and dimes that they can. I'm the son of a farmer, so I understand.
My goal is to have insects destroy my crops in the sake of research. So they can destroy my crops where I can give growers valuable information so their crops are not destroyed. What's great about a research station is we farm on the same soil type that growers in central Louisiana farm on. I have the same surroundings, the geography is roughly the same plants and animals and trees. What's going to work in my plots typically will work in their fields.
By having these research stations, whether it's here up in St. Joe or even down at the Rice Station, the information that is generated there is coming off maybe right across the turn row or right across the fence. They know that I've generated that information and it will work for them. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not doing anything too sciencey. You know, it's very applied, very applicable research.
Working on a research station and extension center is awesome in its own unique self. We go and search and work and do the things that we're passionate about, that our producers are passionate about. I get to educate and I get to teach, but I also get to manage cattle with all of my colleagues and my coworkers, and it's fun. It's just a fun atmosphere to come in and work in.
You know, it's a very small cohort of scientists typically that work very closely together, and then you're also a part of your community. And so, you know, your kids go to school with farmers' kids, you go to church with the same people, and so you're a member of the community, but you're also a scientist that helps give them information.
I think the importance of any research station, the growers have access. They don't have to drive to Baton Rouge. They don't have to drive to another experiment station hundreds of miles away. They can come here, they can see the research that's being conducted. They can tour our plots. You know, the Ag Center, it's their Ag Center.
The men and women at Dean Lee serve farmers in every corner of Louisiana with specialists focused on different crops and research. If you would like to learn more about the Dean Lee Research Station, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, it's kind of like the first day of school, but even better. It's harvest season. A brand new TWILA Boost is up next. Stay with us. October is National Farm to School Month, and this year's theme is Our Food, Our Future. To celebrate, we wanted to highlight some events happening this month that connect farmers and consumers, just like TWILA, except in the classroom. Louisiana Ag in the Classroom is hosting workshops across the state this month that are free to attend, but you must register ahead of time. There are 4 workshops upcoming that you can still register for: Tuesday, October 19th in Gonzales, Louisiana, Thursday, October 21st in Oak Grove, Tuesday, October 26th in Opelousas, and Wednesday, October 27th in Breaux Bridge. There's also a virtual classroom and some great resources for your classroom on their website. We'll link you to those and to the registration for these in-person workshops on our website at twilatv.org. Well, there's a trend happening on social media this harvest season, and I promise that it will make your day. You know how all parents document their children's first day of school with the signs sharing their ages and all the child's favorite things? Well, farmers have jumped on the bandwagon this season to document their first day of harvest, and we're sharing some of our favorites with you in this week's TWILA Boost. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll show you why farmers need better internet on their farms. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to us and turn on the notifications so you know when we put out new content. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.